What is the biggest problem in Mali? Well, Mali's human rights situation deteriorated in 2020 owing to ongoing abuses by armed Islamist groups, ethnic militias, and government security forces. A political crisis led to the August military coup that toppled the government. Mali has been in the grip of an Islamist insurgency in its northern Sahel regions for more than 10 years. On top of this turmoil, in February 2022, France announced the withdrawal of its troops after a 9-year deployment fighting jihadists in Mali's north. Why did France get involved in the first place? Why did the French presence become unpopular? What happens now? Let's find out. President Emmanuel Macron announced the withdrawal of French forces from Mali, where they have been fighting Islamist militants since 2013. There are 5,000 French troops in Mali and surrounding countries, fighting groups such as Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. But over the past 8 years, the French presence has become increasingly unpopular with Mali's government and its public. Following setbacks in the Middle East, both the Islamic State group and Al-Qaeda have decided to focus on Africa's Sahel region. The Sahel is a strip of semi-arid land beneath the Sahara Desert that stretches across the continent from east to west. It includes parts of Chad, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Mauritania. Terrorist groups have carried out terror attacks in the region, killing thousands of people, displacing tens of thousands more, and forcing thousands of schools to close. France sent troops to Mali in 2013 at the request of the government, as the country was facing an armed rebellion. Following the overthrow and assassination of Libya's leader, Muammar Gaddafi, Tuareg mercenaries returned home to Mali, determined to fight for the country's north's independence. They formed an alliance with Al-Qaeda-linked Islamists, who would prove to be the more powerful partners. They took control of the north and threatened to take over the entire country. Until 1960, Mali was a French colony. France's government stated that it wanted to protect the Malian people as well as the 6,000 French citizens who live there. Of those troops, 2,400 have been located in northern Mali, while the rest have been using drones and helicopters to hunt down jihadist cells that operate across Mali, Chad, Niger, Burkina Faso and Mauritania. French troops, together with UN peacekeeping troops, have operated alongside local military forces, patrolling across the deserts of the Sahel. The French forces were warmly welcomed when they first arrived in Mali 9 years ago, but relations have since soured. The country's terror attacks have steadily increased, as has the number of Malians joining insurgent groups. The Islamist militant threat has also spread to other countries, including Burkina Faso and Niger, with insurgents raiding the region from their Saharan bases. Many locals believe that France, as a sophisticated military power, should have been able to solve the terror problem and that it should withdraw if it cannot. The presence of troops from the former colonial power has been described as an occupation by some. The government in Bamako called the French military mission inefficient and unsatisfactory and accused France, its former colonizer, of interfering in Mali's internal affairs. The French troops will be withdrawn over the next 4 to 6 months. Since 55 French troops have been killed in the Sahel, it is not popular in France either. On paper, the French military is in the country to fight terrorism and help it regain its authority over the northern regions. But, of course, the real reason behind Paris's decision to continue risking the lives of French soldiers in a faraway country is to protect French economic and geostrategic interests, namely its exploitation of the gold and uranium mines in the region. Malian society is aware of the neo-colonial plan in the works to divide Mali in order to claim ownership of its vast resources. The anti-France sentiment is widespread in French-speaking West Africa, with citizens frequently taking to the streets to tell Paris that they want old colonialists to leave their countries. The mainstream French media is once again painting a distorted picture of the ground reality. When, in fact, the presence of the French army only added to the chaos and division. It is attempting to deceive the international community by focusing its reports on Mali on the major gold rush that is taking place rather than the country's instability, violence, and threat of disintegration. France was also angered by the decision of the Mali junta to invite mercenaries from the Russian company Wagner to help in the fight against the jihadist groups. The arrival of the Wagner Group mercenaries has been welcomed by some Malians, who see it as politically neutral. However, many Western countries are suspicious of it and have accused the Russian government of helping it win its contract in Mali. Wagner has been operating in several other African countries, including Mozambique, Sudan, and the Central African Republic. There have also been arguments between the French government and Mali's military junta, which seized power in a coup in August 2020. Mali's parliament approved a 5-year democratic transition plan. The military government will rule for up to 5 years, despite regional sanctions imposed on the country over delayed elections. Thanks for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you like the page and turn on the notification bell for more stories.